Okay, so these are all the tools you're going to need. You don't necessarily need all of these, but you are going to need some sort of straight edge so that way you can cut the flooring. You're going to need a razor blade that's sharp so that way you can cut the flooring. You definitely want to have some knee pads because you're going to be on your knees for quite a while. You need a push block so that way you can push the boards up against each other, and a pull bar so that way when you get to the edge of the flooring or to the edge of the wall, you are able to pull the boards tight. And you're going to need spacers. I like these spacers better than these kind. These are the kind that typically come in flooring install kits, and they work okay, but they're flimsy and they kind of move a little bit. So I like these kind better. They've got two sides, one that is 1/4 of an inch and one that's 1/2 inch. So you can use whichever kind you want. You're going to need a pencil so that way you can mark lines on the flooring where you need to make cuts, and definitely a mallet. These two tools you don't necessarily need, but because I'm going to be doing a lot of flooring, I think this is going to make it a lot easier for me. So this is a vinyl cutter. You put your flooring in there and it's going to make a long cut. And then this right here is a vinyl ripper, so you can make longer cuts along the length of the board. And I'll show you how to use those when I get to making some cuts. So with that, I'm going to start opening up these boxes and getting some of the flooring ready to install. Just looking at these handful of boards that I've got on top, I can already see lots of different graining and patterns, so that's really great. So I'm going to select one and then we're going to start over here. Okay, so when you start with the flooring, you'll see that there's one end of the board that has the little groove and the other end does not have a little groove, and one of the long ends has a groove and the other piece has the groove that goes into this groove. So when you start, you want to start with this corner in the corner right there, so that way I can lock all of the other pieces into it. For a luxury vinyl plank, you want to use 1/4 of an inch from the wall, so because this is a floating floor, so it needs to be able to move a little bit. This flooring is really lightweight too, so this is going to be pretty easy, I believe, to install. So now, when you go to install this piece, you want to make sure that you get this part right in there. But before I do that, I'm going to see what we got going on here, because I'm already going to have to make a little bit of a cut right there. It's not going to be much of one, but I'll kind of put this in place. And then to know how far deep I need to go, I can measure from here to here and here to here. And it doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be good enough. Whoops. the other thing. So now when you start with this next row, you don't want to just put another full length plank, because you need to have at least 8 inches, preferably, of on either end of the seam of this one. So that way it's a little bit easier for me to cut around this vent. I want this piece to end right there. So then that leaves me with that much space right there. Then I want this piece right here to be this long. Okay. So then I want this piece to end right where this one is. So I'll make a mark right there. Hopefully you can see that mark. Okay, so to use this, first we want to take off this safety thing. Set that aside. And then all you do with this is you put the plank in here, you pull this lever down, and then it's going to cut it. Where my line is, and so I want to get that right where the blade is going to be. Use this right here to make it straight. Press down like that. And now you've got 2 perfectly straight cut pieces. This little tongue goes right into the groove right here. So I'm gonna put it in there. And then slide it down. Here's my problem. I thought I measured that, but apparently I didn't. So let me go get a vent cover and see if that's gonna be a problem. Yep, that's gonna be a problem. So I need to recut this because apparently I am horrible with measurements. I bet I just cut the wrong end. Let's see if this piece is just a tad longer. Yeah. This is the other part of that one. That's the one that I wanted to go in there. But I can't use this one because if I do it this way, this is the wrong locking end. So we're going to recut. But let's see if that length is appropriate. So let's lift this piece up. One of these days we'll get it together, Gina. One of these days we'll get it together. Yep, this is exactly the length that I need. Okay, so let's cut a new board. This is why you buy extra, and I have plenty of extra. My battery died last night when I was doing the flooring, but I think it kind of actually worked out nicely because once I was finally not on camera, I stopped making mistakes. But it did go a lot smoother. I got some more rows of flooring in. So far I am absolutely loving it. And now having the daylight come in, I think that this flooring is going to look absolutely beautiful. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows in. I think we're gonna have a total of 30 rows, so I'm about 1/5 of the way through. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so I've gotten a handful more rows in. Hopefully I can finish this up before dinner. It's about 5:30 right now. I don't know if I'll be able to, but I can definitely finish it tomorrow. So now I'm coming into some custom cuts. So right here we've got this. I'm gonna need to cut a piece right there, and then I'm also gonna need to cut along the flooring right there. So to do that, I'll use my oscillating saw to cut that trim down a little bit. So that way the flooring fits just under it. To put down right there so I know exactly the height that I need that to be at. And then I've got my oscillating tool right here. So I'm just gonna cut all the way along here to get this out. Okay, so we're almost done. Got one row left. This is where we're gonna have to rip down the boards since the planks are wider than what this strip is. Had I thought about it when I was planning the design, I should have put the short strip at that end since this is where you walk in. And so when you walk in, this is what you're going to see. So it would have been better to have the shorter plank on that wall, or I could have even set it up to where it would have been even, but it's fine, we'll deal with it. So now we're going to rip down the planks so that way they can fit in there. So for that, we will be using the vinyl ripper. So first what we've got to do is figure out how wide we can put that plank. Because see, we've got that there, and we still want to be able to leave a 1/4 inch. So now I can see that that's where I want to rip it. So you get your board in there, lock this, so that way this piece doesn't move anymore. And so right here you can see this little divot, that's exactly where it's gonna cut it. So, yep, that's where I want it. And just make sure that this is down enough. I think I have it down far enough. Let's check and see if we have a score line. Don't know if you can see it, but I can kind of feel it right in here. And then you just break it like that. And now you've got a nice clean cut. And this is our nice piece to fit right in here. Okay, so yesterday afternoon I got the baseboards installed. So now I'm going to paint all of the shoe molding and get that installed. I'll also be painting the windowsill with a fresh coat of paint, as well as this thing right here.
going in the trim, stay tuned for my next video where I replace this fan with a new one and start putting the room back together.